Lena, a 32-year-old woman, walked down a crowded city street, her coat wrapped tightly around her thin frame. Her hands were stuffed deep into her pockets, trying to shield herself from the chill, but it did little to warm her. She was worn out from long hours at work and stress over mounting bills. As she passed a street corner, her eyes fell on a man sitting on the sidewalk with a cardboard sign. Hungry. Please help. For a moment she hesitated. She knew what it felt like to be in need. But the reality was, she could barely afford lunch herself. With a sigh, she kept walking, her stomach growling, and pushed the man out of her mind. As she moved a few steps further, she heard his voice call softly, "Excuse me, miss. Do you have any spare change?" Lena stopped. His voice wasn't demanding, but rather tinged with an exhaustion that made her heart ache. She turned back toward him. His face was worn, his clothes ragged, but his eyes, those eyes held a sadness that seemed to pierce through her. Without thinking, she dug into her wallet and pulled out the few coins she had left. She handed them to him, her hand trembling slightly. "I don't have much," she said softly, "but I hope this helps." The man smiled faintly, his face softening in a way that made Lena's chest tighten. "Thank you," he said, his voice sincere. "You have no idea how much this means to me." Lena nodded, feeling an unexpected warmth spread through her as she turned to leave. But just before she could walk away, he called out again, "Wait!" She looked back, surprised. The man was slowly standing up, reaching into his coat pocket. He pulled out an old, weathered photograph and handed it to her. "This was my mother," he said with a weak smile. "She gave it to me when I was a boy. She said it would bring me luck." Lena took the photograph. It was a family portrait, happy faces, smiling children, but as she looked closer, her breath caught. The man in the photo was unmistakable, her father. She stared at it in disbelief, her pulse quickening. Flipping the photo over, she saw a faded note. "To my son, may you always find kindness." Lena's heart pounded. This man was her father, the man who had disappeared when she was just a child. The shock was overwhelming. She had no idea how to process it, but the need for answers was immediate. She had to find him again. Frantically, she searched the street, calling out for him. She couldn't believe what she had just learned. This man, a stranger moments ago, was her father. But the crowd swallowed him up. Just as she thought she'd lost him again, she spotted him sitting alone at a bus stop. She rushed over, breathless. "Dad," she called, her voice trembling. He looked up, confusion and recognition flickering across his face. Slowly, he stood up, eyes widening. "Lena," he whispered, his voice barely audible. They stood frozen for a moment, before finally embracing. The years of separation, pain, and confusion melted away in that one moment. "I didn't know how to come back," he murmured, tears filling his eyes. Lena smiled through her own tears. "It's okay. We're together now." They walked side by side, a father and daughter reunited. The simple act of kindness had led Lena to a miracle. She had given a stranger a little bit of her last change, and in return, she got the chance to heal the wounds of her past. Sometimes kindness, no matter how small, can lead to the most unexpected miracles. Don't forget to subscribe Storytime with Harry for more interesting stories. Thank you for watching.